And we're live. Welcome everybody here to the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin. Normally, this is a Friday happy hour show where I bring YouTube subscribers on, literally on this feed, to talk this out with me.
That's not what we're doing today?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You are not. I would say you're a little more than a VIP.
Well, I appreciate that.
But as you can tell, those of you watching, that is Aaron Larsoul. He is walking the streets of Phoenix right now.
This is true.
Which I may or may not have told him to just kind of walk into a slowly moving, backing out car for the views.
Yep.
He was not particularly interested in that idea.
Well, so here's the problem. Last time I was walking and was on my phone like this at the same time, it was texting and it was January, and I fell down the stairs at my place and ruptured my patella tendon. So I'm if you see me looking around, it's actually me looking at the ground to make sure I don't injure myself. But yes, I am in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to.
Looks nice.
It's nice. The weather's nice. The weather's lovely. The problem though is, so have you ever seen that movie? I have not seen it, but I've heard of it. Sleeping with the Enemy.
No.
A movie called Sleeping with the Enemy. I don't know, some white person in it, and I am staying at one of my good friends, former Lakers assistant, current Phoenix assistant, John Pastor, JP. I'm staying at his place because I did not want to make the entire trip with the Lakers, and I wanted to be on my own schedule. So I'm staying at his place, and he forgot when he left this morning the clicker to the gate into the complex. And so for the first 5 hours of my day, I was trapped in his place without. I did not want to hop the fence with my aforementioned knee, so I was trapped. Now I'm finally free, and we did a little happy hour. We went and got something to eat, did a little happy hour, but I'm excited to hang out here as I wander around and make sure that I don't injure myself on the streets of Phoenix, Arizona. I've been a prisoner in JP's home.
We should get someone to write the headline. Suns assistant coach kidnaps critical Lakers employee for hours.
Yeah.
Ahead of matchup.
Yeah.
Where's Jacob? Jacob, if you're watching, get that headline going.
Right. Yeah, there you go. It's been a good trip so far. Anthony Davis looks like he's going to play tonight. I will admit, I did not go to shoot around this morning. It was a late night. I will not tell you who was with me because I don't know that we need their business here on the lounge. But it's been a good trip so far. It's been good to see the guys and Drew Anthorpe and a bunch of the guys and Frank and all the guys of our former friends, now enemies. I have here's breaking news. I've heard the Phoenix Suns will be wearing purple jerseys this evening to go along with their terrible purple shirts. So maybe it'll be like kind of a.
Is that like a camouflage thing?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Or I think they're at least wearing purple shoes. They said they were going to wear purple shoes to maybe hide themselves. They're wearing their El Valley jerseys tonight, so maybe they're black. So I thought they were purple. I don't know. They're going to be wearing some purple to try to camouflage themselves on that terrible coat.
I think it's El Valle, but regardless.
Yeah, so El Valley, yeah, sure, El Valle, yeah.
So, all right, the way today's show is going to work, you and I are going to, at least for a little while, at least for as long as I have you, the Lakers Lounge and All Access Lakers are entering into some critical negotiations.
Yes.
Over an official relationship between the two entities. We've had a kind of unofficial relationship, right? You come on my show, I go on your show, all of that stuff. But we're thinking about expanding that relationship into a more regular thing during games, after games, all of that. And I had a commenter the other day here on YouTube mention how one of their favorite things about the lounge and about the way that I've built things around here and the way I've basically always operated is the relationship that I have with other co-hosts when they come on. So
Right.
one of whom
Fun.
I particularly enjoy talking to after games is Raj, who is also with the All Access Lakers crew.
Yes.
Somebody who yeah, I would say I go way backward. I don't think he is capable of going way back. Like I think he only goes back. Like he's so young that he just there is no going way back with Raj.
Well, here's the other part of it is that if you were going to make some sort of reference for how long you guys have known each other, been friends, have worked together, done shows together, he would not understand the reference anyway. So
yeah,
I think you can basically say whatever you want.
So essentially we got it. All right. We don't have our agents present. We don't have lawyers present. So
No, we do not.
that complicates things a little bit.
I'm walking through a goddamn strip mall in Phoenix, Arizona as we have this conversation. So
I'm glad that you said you finished that with strip mall and this wasn't a James Harden thing.
I told you I wasn't going to tell you who was out last night.
Was it James Harden?
I have not. No, I have not.
They didn't have a game, so he might have just booked it. Oh no, they didn't have a game.
They did not, although they've looked horrible in his 2 games. But continue.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But all right, so let's start these negotiations. I would say that,
and this by the way, this idea started yesterday when you texted me. So yes,
yeah. Again, I run a very tight ship, and ideas that come to my mind run right into the show. So I would say, for me, coming on the show a few more times a week for these games, and actually, those of you who are Lakers fans and care about this kind of a thing, you guys should be rooting for me to expand my role on All Access Lakers, because the Lakers can apparently only win when I do that show.
Yeah, so here's why. Because I am unavailable for home games, as I am at every home game, and apparently some road games, you just tend to show up for home games where the Lakers are 3-0, and not for the road games where the Lakers are 0-5.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, I think we can. I mean, if you want to say there's some sort of, whatever voodoo that you do, that you have some role in this, then I'm willing to listen.
I think it's undeniable at this point.
Okay.
That I have.
That's good. That is a good negotiating point.
I'm so we're like 3 games away, I think, from Stu Lance putting this in his official keys to the game.
And the 3 keys to the game, yeah.
Yeah, is Anthony on All Access Lakers? So, that's my first negotiating tactic is for all fans of the Lakers and All Access Lakers. I have the leverage here as it legitimately impacts Lakers games. So I think I get to dictate the terms.
Okay, well then I guess I should just shut up and listen.
So,
and by the way, the Camelback Mountain's up ahead. There you go.
My first request of All Access Lakers is to consider the lounge the official post-game show of All Access Lakers. Are you cool with that?
Yes, sure. I'm with it.
Okay.
Now, my only thing, so Shub, one of our hosts, does his Spaces thing after games, post-game show, but that's not on playback, so I'm okay with that. Yes.
That is fine, and I guess I can work that out with Shub at a later date to figure out if he wants to do this thing here too. Shub does great stuff though. The coach's den and all of that stuff is they're fun listens as well.
Yeah.
What are you expecting of me? How often do I need to be on the show per week to make this official?
Let's talk 2 or 3. Whenever you can. I think you come on. Maybe 1 game a week, 1 or 2 games a week. for as long as you can, and then maybe we do one non-game day show also. I think that works.
Man, that is asking a lot. That is demanding a lot of your audience to deal with me for 2 days.
You know what's funny is
2 more days a week.
Shub and Raj actually hit me because they tend to do. I'm on the games a fair amount, and then True and I do a lot of the non-game days. But Shub actually hit me after one of the last times you were on and said how much he enjoyed having you on. So that's why I've been on your head more about coming on, because you're whatever that voodoo that you do. I should use that phrase again. It was popular with our audience. So
well, I did the show topless. It was a chance that I took, but
I told you. I said I'm not gonna say who was out last. Oh wait, never mind.
All right. The next tidbit here is that on playback,
yes,
I get to plug the Lakers Lounge with every other sentence I utter.
If we can make it every third sentence, you got to do.
So every third observation that I have, I'm going to say that observation is brought to you by the Lakers Lounge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm with that.
All right,
I'm good with that.
Beyond that, I think that's basically it. I mean, all I was really hoping for is to basically go from my appearances on All Access Lakers and basically be able to tell people that if you enjoyed this conversation, hop on over to Lakers Lounge on YouTube for the post-game show and or subscribe to the Lakers Lounge in your RSS or on your preferred podcast platform to hear us talk about the game that we all watched together. That was basically it.
Yeah. So, and then I will say, all we need all of the fantastic listeners that we have and YouTube watchers that we have here in the Lakers Lounge. We want you to become to create an account and become members on All Access Lakers on Playback. I think we're good.
I think all of this is dictated on and predicated on our listeners, our either shared or non-shared listeners opting into all of our non-usual content, right? So you have your All Access Lakers subscribers who aren't lounge subscribers. You guys should come on over here. And all my lounge subscribers who aren't subscribed or don't have an account on Playback, do make that account and then make sure you subscribe to all of us. Now that I'm calling us. Oh, that's my last demand.
Oh, yeah, but
on
more
the
demands.
Access,
I had like half of a demand, and now you're into like 4 or 5. But continue.
Yeah. I would also like to be on the the official like Playback Twitter account.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah, I got you.
And I need to be ahead of Raj.
Huh. All right.
Or this can be like those like movie credits, right? Where like your
name is second but bigger.
no, like
also starring.
All right, I think that'll do it. I think for at least the surface level negotiations here. I think we have. I think we have the beginnings of a deal.
Yeah. So for everybody, if you do not know how to get to All Access Lakers, there is an All Access Lakers Twitter page that I don't do a great job of taking care of, but I'll do better. But all the stuff about how to join the show and watch our streams, whether it's game streams, and come in and be part of the community and hang out and talk with other Laker fans. True and I also watch other games around the league on League Pass. And actually, we just on Tuesday, True and I decided we were going to do a show, and then a little Rockets preview show. And Rouge, who is a big Rockets fan and does a really good room on Playback for the Rockets, came on, and we did like a game preview with some of the opposition opinion. He will not be invited back because that game did not go well, so he won't be invited back. But yeah, we do game broadcasts, we do recaps, we do breaking news. We just come in, hang out, and talk Lakers. So we have guest Junie's going to come on pretty soon. So it's fun. But if you go to All Access Lakers, if you follow All Access Lakers on Twitter, you can see all the information about how to get there, and then you can watch in real time where Anthony's placement is on the marquee. This would be kind of a real time thing.
We've made this. This was part of the negotiations. I am last, and I have an "and" before my name.
Okay, that's fine. Also starring. Yeah. Okay, I think I can do that.
An important question.
I mean, at this point, I might just give you the login. I might just let you take it over.
We have an important question here from D. Stevens. Is Aaron at Vaughn's? Were you ever near a Vaughn's?
I don't know. I did traverse through several strip malls, so it's possible there was a Vaughn's in one of them. I went to a place called, shockingly enough, if any of you actually know me, I went to a place called The Bar for lunch, and we're walking back to JP's place, where once I go into the grounds, which you will watch me do here momentarily, I become a prisoner.
All right. Before you become a prisoner, we do have to answer a question here and talk about the Lakers a little bit.
Okay.
Landon Archuleta writes, Anthony, when would you make a change to the starting lineup to get the bad starts under control? Aaron, how close are we to a starting lineup change? I also am asking this selfishly because your response will go a little ways in dictating how I bet tonight's game.
Well, so for that, I will say Hennessy is delicious. Because that I have to stay away from, even though there are many fine gambling partners of the NBA. That is not something that I can participate in. However, hold on, let me see. I don't even know if I can turn the camera on. There is the Valley flag across the street. I don't know if you can see that, but
I think it's still El Valle.
No, that one definitely says the Valley.
I think that's a show. That's an MTV show.
Is it? Oh, okay. You know, I'm better than Raj, but I'm not great with pop culture. As it relates to the Lakers starting lineup, the Lakers have trailed by double digits, I believe, in 6 of the 8 first quarters this year. And a lot of that people recognize it. What are the reasons why? Those can be, there's a few discussions to be had there, but part of it is, and I do think at this point, that when Vando is available, when he's ready, I do think Vando will come back to the starting lineup. But a lot of it, I guess I would say, is, especially with all the guys that have been out, some guys are coming back. Rui played well the other night and is back. It looks like Jackson is going to be back tonight. It looks like AD is going to be back tonight. But some of the question is kind of like the question at the end of 2 games ago when Cam missed that 3. You don't want Cam in, okay, but like for whom is also something that has to be figured out. So I do understand the questions about the starting lineup because, frankly, the starting lineup hasn't been good enough. But I don't know the obvious move. I guess, you could say, if assuming AD is good to go tonight and he's probable, what's the change? Rui, I guess, maybe.
That would be my preference, Rui for Prince.
But to me, the real problem with the starting group has been Austin and D'Lo haven't been good enough offensively to offset the problems that they can present defensively, right? The point of attack defense has been kind of the big problem. We saw it in Houston, that how much AD has made up for a multitude of sins, and to be able to cover for that. But like the problem has been nobody's guarding at the point of attack, and that's kind of was not expected. But Austin and D'Lo are not known as defensive stalwarts. I think the problem has been they have not provided enough offensively to make up for the problems defensively. So I don't know that Rui is really the answer to that. At some point, it probably is worth trying something just to try something different because that group of 5 just has not played well. So, there could be a Christian Wood conversation because Wood, LeBron, and AD have played really well together so far. but then you get into the problems, and these were discussions that I was having last night. Again, I'm not telling you who I was out with, but these are discussions that we were having, at dinner, and then after dinner last night. But Christian Wood was kind of awful the other night, and that also, to me, the big problem there, and I've said on your show here, or I guess at this point it's our show.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this for since the off season. The problem with that for me is that turns LeBron defensively into a full-time full-time three, and I just don't think that that's tenable in most matchups. I think that's just too much to ask of LeBron. I do understand the increase in size and playing bigger, and I know Lakers fans are really into that because that was part of the championship formula a couple of years ago, and the Lakers have had some problems on the glass, giving up second chance points this year. So I get that as a formula, or like conceptually, I understand that, but LeBron at the three just full time, that should scare all of us. It's not that it should scare all of us. It's just his effort level and his ability to give everything he has defensively in those matchups when it's necessary. For Jason Tatum, for Kawhi Leonard, for these, the apex predator wings that he would be forced to guard. That just feels kind of like a non-starter to me. So I don't know. It's interesting. It is being talked about, though. Let's say that it is being considered. It's being talked about.
The reason I like Rui,
and that dog hates the idea, apparently.
Well, the Wood idea. We didn't hear him when I mentioned Rui.
Fair.
I think swapping Prince out for Rui allows that group to play with a little bit more force and makes them more physical on the boards. The Lakers, I think their success and failure is really kind of tied to their ability to rebound the ball. And I like the idea of making a move that makes them a better rebounding team than they have been so far this year. That's why I would go with.
That's your Rui. That's your Rui for Prince idea.
Yeah.
Or that's yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Welcome home.
Is JP there? Can we ask him what he thinks?
No, he is not, and if he was, it would be the same answer.
JP, I know you no longer work for the Lakers, but how do you think we can help the Lakers?
Yeah, especially tonight, right?
Yeah.
JP might have more shoes than I do.
That'd be so great. That'd be so great if he was like, you know what,
shoes and
yeah, it'd be great if JP was like, you know what, I think the Lakers would really benefit of swapping Prince and Rui, and then they did it, and then immediately took off,
like especially tonight,
yeah,
especially
immediately
tonight,
just
good.
Like that first like that 5-man group just becomes a destroyer of worlds, and but no, I do think though that like getting some more physicality, some more oomph with that first group. Speaking of oomph. I like what Prince would bring there, or what Rui would bring instead of Prince there. That is, if I'm looking for a change in the lineup tonight, it would start there. I don't think moving Wood there, full, and having him start quite yet. I want to see him hold better habits for longer before I reward him with a starting gig. And the one time that he got a starting gig, like we just talked about
it was imperfect.
He turned into a pumpkin. He turned back into
it was imperfect. Let's call it imperfect.
Pumpkin.
Not ideal.
The clock struck midnight.
Not ideal.
The glass slipper vanished. It was gone. But
look, here's kind of the thing is that, and tonight should be instructive, right? Because I don't know if Book is going to play, but it seems like Bradley Beal is going to play, and KD is going to play, and it looks like AD is going to play, but without AD, like none of this matters anyway. So,
yeah.
So I think tonight should be instructive.
Technically speaking, I would say it matters more because then you have to get that much better on the margins when you don't have your your best player. And I thought, like, when I said this yesterday, when I saw that starting group, I told my folks were watching the game with me. Jen was watching the game with me, and I was like, that lineup is food. And then they started down 8-0 by the time warmups were over. And I think that, I obviously happy that AD is back and it seems to be back. He's on track to be back.
Yep, he's probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
With him now back, I would prefer to see the Lakers start with a more physical group. The other thing before we start to get you out of here and stuff, is the offense. We didn't spend a ton of time on it because you were rushing to the airport. But now with a little bit more time at our disposal, the offense, to me, I've watched and rewatched enough games now, and I've watched enough of these possessions to say that, like, it's not just the injuries, right? Like, it's easy to point at the injuries.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that. Yeah, it's not.
There's some conceptual and execution issues that the Lakers are, I think, dealing with. Let's start with the conceptual, because to me, on a macro level, I think the 5-out offense is almost too egalitarian for a LeBron team. And that clip that went somewhat viral the other day, a couple weeks back or a week back or so, where he tells the coaching staff, I think he was talking to Phil Handy, I'm just floating around out there.
Yeah. He was talking about his ability to play point guard and still play big, but with him at point guard.
Yeah. That line obviously got a bunch of attention, and I thought, simultaneously got too much and the right amount of attention. It's the thing that is the most notable there, but I thought people ran with it a little too much. And I thought that, like, essentially what he was, kind of
alluding to,
highlighting or alluding to. Yeah. I was like, alleviating. That's not it. Alluding to. Thank you.
No, you can go with whatever words you want.
No, that is not the right word of alleviating, or right way to use it. But, like, what he was alluding to essentially was, like, I don't feel like I'm a big enough part of the offense right now. And I don't think D'Lo thinks he's a big enough part of the offense. I don't think Reaves is comfortable with this, with how much of the offense he's controlling. None of those three guys, I think, feel particularly comfortable with that group. And I think the 5-out approach in this egalitarian approach is kind of lending itself to some of those problems.
So I think there's a couple things at play here. But let's start with Austin and D'Lo have been not good enough offensively. Let's start with that. But I do think, and you talked about, concepts and execution. I do think conceptually the 5-out, I don't think it's fair to call it a mistake, but it is fair to say that it hasn't worked yet for a couple of reasons. 5-out with a LeBron James team is going to be difficult, right? Because in the stressful moments, I talked about this, I think it was back on The Hook when we were doing The Hook with the Russ trade, and we were talking about what you can see, what you can learn from preseason games with Russ. And I said nothing. I used an analogy which is not great now, but let's say I used like a war analogy, but I don't want to use that now. But let's say you can't find out if people are going to do something different until they are stressed.
Yeah.
There's a war analogy that I don't want to use, that I used then, that I don't want to use now with circumstances. And so the 5-out thing with LeBron, like,
it's like the first fight in a relationship, right? Everybody is like the best version of themselves, and then they have their first fight, and that's when both sides kind of see, like, oh,
that's when you find out what you really are, right? What the relationship really is, what your partner is really like, is in stressful moments. The same is true in basketball. What I said about Russ was that Russ is saying all these great things about how he's going to be a cutter and he's going to set screens and he's going to work off the ball and do all of these other things. But until you are put in a stressful environment, you can't figure out if those changes are real, because what we do in stressful situations is we revert back to what's comfortable for us. And so with the 5-out with LeBron, when it really gets tight, when it's a 2-point game with 30 seconds left, um, at the end of the game, LeBron's going to do what LeBron does because he has done it very, 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 very successfully. In my opinion, more successfully than anybody ever has, his way. And so to expect something other than that is strange. I think the other issue, though, is the Lakers have gone to this new system. Two things. One, Austin didn't play in the preseason, right? Like hardly at all. Um, it was, I mean, a lot of guys, AD played a fair amount. LeBron didn't play that much in preseason. So to try to implement a different system when there wasn't much time to see if it's going to work in preseason, and then also teams don't practice, right? NBA teams do not practice. So to try to implement a new system without a lot of time in the preseason is difficult. The other problem is there are different driving lanes when you play 5 out. And unless you have shooters that people are so terrified of, they will not leave under any circumstance, right? Buddy Hield, Steph, Clay, like that level of shooter that guys are just not going to leave under any circumstances. It is easier to help on a strong side drive. If you don't vacate the corner, it's easier to help on a strong side drive because guys don't have very far to go, right? Unless you do an empty side, empty corner, the helper is willing to leave the corner a little bit, and it's very close on that. If it's a strong side drive, the helper it's very easy to help off of that because they don't have that far to go, unless they are so tied to the shooter that they will not leave under any circumstances. So I think Austin specifically, but some of the other guys, but I think Austin specifically has found the driving lanes more clogged up, and the help it's been easier to help off of whoever to help on Austin's drive. So I think Austin, as a result of that, has kind of over-penetrated and got himself stuck in the paint. And that's a result of the 5-out system. It doesn't mean the system is inferior. It just means that there are different lanes that guys are not used to driving, especially to the strong side. So I think that, among other reasons, has caused the offense to stagnate. And, we were talking about what LeBron's load is going to be. And if he's a 3 earlier, I haven't looked after the Houston game, but it probably did not do the numbers any favors. The Lakers, without LeBron on the floor, had an 88 offensive rating with going into the Houston game. So, and were terrible offensively in the Houston game, so it probably didn't get better. So I think all of these combinations have come to this team hasn't figured out how to run 5-out yet, and are in positions that they're not entirely comfortable with. And maybe as a result of that, and maybe just because some of the guys are struggling, D'Lo and Austin are struggling, the offense has been pretty not so awesome to start the season.
Yeah, I just think it's a combination in Steve Jones of the dunker spot.
It's a good thread. Yeah, it's a good thread.
He was tweeting about it, and one of his kind of initial points I think is a good one in that I don't even beyond the concept, right? And I have questions about the concept, but it's kind of hard to really judge the concept based off of how the Lakers are actually executing on some of this stuff. And you watch how the Lakers are setting screens and how how quickly they're moving into spots to set the screen and any kind of action on the weak side. And a lot of that is kind of done in an offense like this based off of instincts, and that the Lakers don't necessarily have the instincts quite yet to do that stuff on the weak side. And, I use the analogy really often of a dancer who you can actually see counting out their steps. And I think the Lakers right now in this offense are still kind of counting out their steps. They aren't listening to the music, but they're paying more attention to the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. When you have to think about what you're doing, that it happens a lot in football, right? It was quarterbacks making reads. If you have to think about it, you're already a count behind.
Yeah, I was laughing. I actually watched that god-awful matchup last night of the Bears and the Panthers.
Oh, God.
Okay.
And
There
so
was basketball on. What were you doing? There was basketball on.
I have two TVs in my living room. I was
All right,
watching
85 the foyer. Yeah, right. Yeah.
in the projector screen. So, but
Oh,
we
yeah, of
had
course.
the but I was watching, and Herbie was mentioning how Badgett, I think his name is, the Bears quarterback,
Yeah.
missed, I think, DJ Moore wide open down the middle of the field. And he was like, well, sometimes quarterbacks just don't have that in the read. And I was like, you should probably have the auto touchdown always in your read. Like that should
just go with that.
That should probably be a throw that you're prepared to make under any circumstances whatsoever, because you could really clearly see the defense was just kind of spreading out, and Moore had this lane right down the middle of the field. And you're like, that's if you just complete the throw, that guy is gone. But like, to the point that you're making, Badgett is so in his head thinking about these other reads that, if this was just backyard football and you saw that happening, that throw is gone. Like that throw is made immediately. And clearly he wasn't ready to make it. And I think we see that a version of that was a play that I mentioned on the show after the Houston game, where LeBron back cuts, gets a step, even kind of like seals his players. So he gives a clear target for Reaves to make the pass to, but it didn't really matter because Austin, I think, is still kind of going through the steps and numbering out the steps. And last year, or typically, Austin makes that snap right-handed pass to the baseline that hits LeBron and gets an easy basket. But I think right now, because he's so clearly in his head about, do I attack? Am I a passer? Am I setting up the offense, or am I setting up for myself? Because of all of that is going on, I think you're seeing some hesitancy from Austin that we aren't accustomed to watching. So I'm still holding full judgment on the offense until we start to see more guys back, B, and more importantly, I think everybody get more comfortable with the concept. I guess the only question here is whether 5 out, given the identity that I think we know that the Lakers should probably be assuming now, where it's a little bit bigger team, kind of a more bruising team, is 5 out actually the best usage of the tools that the Lakers have at their disposal, to the point that like you're willing to wait and see. And in this Western Conference, the Lakers don't have a ton of runway here. So like, I don't think we're at the point where that approach needs to be scrapped, but I do think that we're closer to it than I think the Lakers maybe want to realize.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. It's also compounded, obviously, by the availability or lack thereof of some
throughout
guys
the
and
preseason and now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said this. I don't remember if I said this when we were talking, not you and I, yesterday at dinner, and then after that here in Phoenix, or if I said it on the show yesterday, maybe both. Is that I don't think it's like the injuries are, you can say the injuries are an excuse, but I don't think it's any of the injuries individually. I think there's like been a compounding effect of the injuries, right? Vando is the best point of attack defender. He's not going to start. And then Gabe, who was frankly terrible offensively before he got hurt, but he is the other guy that you would say, this is the dude I trust at point of attack defense. So I think it is too early to make some judgments. And after tonight, Phoenix has been up and down this year. Again, another team that is kind of hard to know what they are and who they are, because they've had their guys other than KD have been not around much. But after tonight, the Lakers schedule is pretty easy. There's a good amount of home games, and it's Memphis, who's been terrible. It's Portland. It's Sacramento. It's Portland again, I think. So like the schedule, the next 8 or 9 games here are it's pretty favorable. So there is an opportunity here to kind of establish yourself, right? And whatever the next 2-3 weeks, that is enough time to, if guys are available, that is enough time to have a more definitive answer about the offensive scheme and the offensive system. But to your point earlier about Steve Jones in that thread, which I thought was really good. I looked at it like no scheme is going to work if, well, one, if like all your guys are out, that just no scheme is going to work. But the other thing is if guys are not cutting hard, setting real screens, I think in that thread there was the Lakers, kind of lament about the Lakers not getting out of anything. Maybe it was Nikias who said this about the Lakers were not getting anything out of the wide pin downs for AD that had been, yielding fruit for a while. And if you look at it, it was you mentioned earlier, the screens just were like, it was slow motion, it was telegraphed, nobody was cutting
Not
hard,
physical.
nobody was, yeah, exactly. And so if that is, and to be fair to the guys, some of that may be, again, going back to like, I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to be doing here, so I have to think. It's not like, it's not natural. It's not just, I have to think about it. So that can get in the way too. But I do think that this is a good kind of stretch of games where, the Lakers should win 7 out of the next 10 or so. And it will be also a time to have do a good autopsy on, is this going to work for this team? The offense hasn't been good enough so far. I think this is the first time I saw something, maybe we talked about this yesterday. This is the first time that in NBA history, a team has made fewer threes than their opponent and shot a worse 3-point percentage than their opponent in the first 8 games. The Lakers don't have a lot of lasers on the roster, to use LeBron's words again. Torian can shoot it, Austin can shoot it, D'Lo can shoot it, but like there isn't that one guy that is a 5-alarm fire. Malik Beasley is that guy, but he was not last year, and he also has not been in Milwaukee. So I do think that this is like kind of, I don't think this is put up or shut up time for the team or for the season, but I do think this next 8 or 10 games or so may be put up or shut up time for this scheme offensively.
Yeah, I think, and this is where it gets tricky, right? Really tricky is if they do wind up ditching the scheme. Now you're building the plane in midair, mid-flight, and that's in the middle of a
Yeah, but what's
the
other option, right?
Well, I don't even know,
because I think conceptually, like going into the year with the roster, I do think it was a good. I do agree with the theory of the case. I do think it was a good idea in principle, and sometimes those the best laid plans of mice and men, right? Sometimes the best ideas on paper in practice don't go as well as you hope.
Yeah, God's favorite joke are our plans, right?
Right. Yeah. Go make a plan. Yeah. Exactly.
No, I totally agree, and they don't have very many options if this continues to go the way that it has. I would just be really curious what they would go to. Would they run something similar to what they did last year? Right. Is that even an option with this personnel? What amount of trust does that erode in the coaching staff that they thought that this was a good idea in the first place? And does that limit the amount of buy-in? Would changing the scheme actually improve buy-in because the team sees how?
Do you know what that is?
Is that Sincoro? It doesn't look like Hennessy.
No, it is. It is.
It's
No, there is Sincoro there. Her JP was very kind. He wanted to make this road game feel like a patio. So when I got here yesterday, there was plenty of Sincoro. So
I like it. All right. Well, Aaron, I'm about to do a live read for a fantasy app that I don't think that you really want to be a part of. So
I'm gonna go ahead and hit that X. Thank you for having me on. Hey, I love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
If I was there with you, I would give you a hug to commemorate this momentous occasion for the Lakers Lounge and All Access Lakers. Again, for those of you who are watching and enjoy Aaron and my nonsense, or me and Raj, or just me watching basketball, tune in tonight when I watch tonight's game with the All Access Lakers crew.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me, I gotta make you a moderator when I hit this X and leave, so you can do things that I'm not allowed to be a part of.
There's that of that All Access Lakers crew, of which I am now officially a member. the last, again, just a reminder, Aaron, it's going to
Yes.
be, whatever
You
at
want
throw it, and then at,
and
or featuring, if you want to do featuring,
featuring.
also,
All
or
right.
especially starring, depending on how many.
Especially starring. Okay, that is. Gotta see how many characters I have left in the bio there, but okay.
Well, all
So
right,
here's the
Aaron.
thing. I said I think on there it says whatever, something about with Lakers insiders, me, and then and True, and like and hosts Shub and Raj. So what? And you want to be like separate from that? You want to be like guest starring or
I don't even know
reoccurring
what
star?
category I would be. Like I would be. I'm probably closer to an insider than to an
But then you're towards the top of the market. All right, we'll continue to work this out.
negotiate. Well, we'll get the lawyers involved now. Now
That's
that we're
right.
talking about positioning,
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
expect Avery to be sending you an email here.
Avery's going to be sending me an email when you bet the Clippers against the Lakers. So it's like, Uncle Aaron, I mean, it was only for donuts, but Daddy needs his proper placement as per this as per Lakers Lounge dated whatever. Yeah, okay. All right.
As per the Lakers Lounge and All Access Lakers agreement, codified on November 10th, 2023. Daddy needs to be in the top area up there.
All right, go do your read so you can
buddy.
bet on the Clippers against the Lakers again.
Have a great night.
All right, brother. Be good, but not that good.
All right. Really quickly, before we get you guys out of here, a reminder: today's show, and basically, I'm just calling it. They're considered basically a presenting sponsor for the time being of the lounge and of everything that we're doing here. Sleeper, you can see the app up there, where Sleeper is the fastest growing app that you can use with over 5 million active users in 2022. Again, Sleeper is a fantasy sports plus and real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become, as I just said a second ago, the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world, with over 5 million active users in 2022, while earning some of the highest levels of engagement per user in the industry. At Sleeper, it's not just about sports, it's about building personal connections and lasting memories. Sleeper Picks is our real money product that connects friends over picks. Choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame, live, or even across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats. On Sleeper, you can get up to 100 times payouts. And what that means is like you pick, so this isn't actually an example right now, but if you go on there and you really feel like D'Angelo Russell is going to catch fire and take the world by storm tonight, you can go on there and find over-unders for triple doubles for D'Angelo Russell, and you get whatever bonus that is listed down there on the bottom of what that fantasy stat would accompany, and really see how it rolls. Also on Sleeper, you can get a $100 deposit bonus if you use a promo code LA Lounge. Again, that is LA Lounge, where you can get that deposit bonus. And also, as part of this agreement, I'm going to be doing some picks, have been doing some picks. I'm going to go ahead and put that Sleeper promo there. Again, you can't miss it. It's smack dab in the middle of the screen. And for these picks, or for these stats that I'm going to be looking at here tonight, I am on double doubles, and I am, you have LeBron over under one or I guess a half a double double, meaning that you are, I guess wagering whether or not LeBron is going to be getting a double double. If he does get one tonight, and you say that he is going to get one tonight, you can get, 2 and just about 2.5 times the bet that you put down there. I think that's worthwhile. That'll be one of my selections here. You can do the same thing with Anthony Davis. Now, obviously, the payout is going to be a little lower of whether or not he's going to get a double-double. So actually, I think it's worthwhile to bet the under on Anthony Davis getting a double-double tonight. And there, you get more than 2.5 times your bet if you do select that one. And you know what? That is one that I'm going to go with. So for tonight's action between the Lakers and the Suns, I'm going over 1 double-double with LeBron. I think he's going to get up. He always gets up for these marquee games. He's going to be playing against Kevin Durant. Bradley Beal, I believe, is also going to be available. Unfortunately, Devin Booker is not. I would like for Anthony Davis to take full advantage of the Suns front court, but I don't necessarily know how healthy he is. So I'm going to go under a double-double for Anthony Davis here. Again, Sleeper is where you do all of this. The Sleeper app. You see it right there. You see the logo. It's a slick logo. And if you use that promo code LA Lounge in the way that you see it, again, right here on your screens, you get up to $100 in your deposit match to get you going there on the app. Shouts to Sleeper for their support. One last thing before we get you out of here. These things, I love being able to talk to Aaron and stuff, but these happy hours are only going to work if I get subscribers here, VIP members of the lounge to come on stage with me. It is super fun when we get this thing up and going. It was really catching its form back when I was at Silver Screen still. And when we were bringing people up on stage and being able to do so was a really fun experience. And I love getting the audience involved. And that is a really fun way to do so. I also missed a super comment last week. I apologize for that, but shouts to George for making that comment. And if you want to do that, I'll find a unique way to single out those of you who do that. But regardless of however you're supporting the show, whether it's through subscriptions, whether you want to be a paid VIP, whether it's now hopping on All Access Lakers and watching me watch the games with that crew over there, I appreciate you nonetheless. So until next week and until next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin saying have a great rest of your day, make somebody else's, and I will talk to you tonight on All Access Lakers.